It's that time of the month again. Yep, it's time for the new Retrocore Volume 24 here. Got loads of great stuff coming up for you today, including the close-up at the Neo Geo Pocket. Quite an underestimated portable system, that one. So also, we've got loads of great games for the Super Famicom. For the Famicom, we've got the Neo Geo, we've got X68000, we've got Sega Saturn, PlayStation, and loads more. But kicking it all off is the very first 3D game, or at least I think it's the very first 3D game to ever appear on the Sega Mega Drive. It's a Star Cruiser by NCS Missile. So by judging from the cool intro, you'd expect this to be some sort of 3D shooter. Well, maybe if I had some sort of DSP chip in there to help along with the speed, it could have been. But unfortunately, nope, it's not a 3D shooter. Well, it is in a way. Mainly it's an action-adventure game. So as you can see here, we've got the RPG elements. Fortunately, it's advertised in Japanese. Got a little bit of Retrocore right in there, missing the E. So basically what happens here is the guy's telling you where your enemies are located and so on, and it's up to you to go and blast them away. There are a few space shoot-em-up sections, but they are a bit slow, to be honest. Most of the action does take place on the actual planet, as you can see right now. At times the game can slow down quite a bit, and turning corners can be a little bit tricky. But, you know, for such an early title, it's not too bad, to be honest. Unfortunately, the amount of Japanese in there is going to put off an awful lot of people. You know, some games you can get by even if you can't speak any of the language or read it. But in this game, you do have to understand what's going on. But, you know, if you're willing to persevere with it, just find yourself having a bit of a good time. Let's see here, we've got to use one of the items to get through the door, so I just picked up the keys before. We'll use one of them, and the door magically opens. Cruiser gets a Retrocore scored up. 5 out of 10. So we're going to take a look at the good old Neo Geo Pocket. So as you can see, this is the Japanese version. And you open up just like this. And inside, you get a crap load of instructions. Every language under the sun basically, except English. And then you get the console itself, which comes in its own little box. It should be in a plastic bag, but I lost that. So first thing you notice when you see the Neo Pocket Colour, it does look quite stylish, and it is pretty well built. See around the back here we've got the extension port, which should connect the two Neo Geo Pockets together, so I believe, or you can also connect it to the Sega Dreamcast. Down the bottom you've got the volume control, headphone socket input, and the power input. And around the back we have, here is where you put your two double-sized A batteries in. Nothing too special there. And in here is your button cell battery, which keeps all your important information safe, such as your time and dates, as you're about to see right now. So when you first switch on the machine, you get that nice little Neo Geo Pocket splash screen. So there's two languages available. You've got English and Japanese, even on the Japanese model of the machine. You've got a calendar here, so you can keep all your affairs in order, I guess. You've also got world time and an alarm, and a horoscope as well. So let's see how I'm doing today. Oh, romance is looking good. Do I have lots of money though? So also in the settings, as well as selecting your language, you can also select the type of colour you're going to have for monochrome games. So you've got blue here, classic, black and white, and red, as well as green. You can't really see them, to be honest, on this video due to the pretty naffy screen on the Neo Pocket Colour. So let's take a look at the games. So most games come in hard cases, but this game here, Densha De Go, comes in a cardboard case. Now it's actually quite nice as well. It does look pretty much the part. It looks pretty sturdy as well. So the front panel of the case opens up like this. Your instruction books go there. God knows where my instruction books disappear to. Whatever goes here, I do not know. Probably a link cable if the game needs it. And your game. And your game comes in this little protective case, just like the old Game Boy games. Just pop it out there. Hey, out you come. As you can see, it's nothing too special, just a standard cartridge. So plonk that in the machine. Give it a bit of a blow. I have a feeling this isn't going to come on, you know. It's playing up before this game was. Let's zoom in a little bit there. Oh, fuck me, it came on. You even got a little bit of speech there. So as you can see, you've got arcade mode, original mode, and game setup, as well as a ranking. Now they do actually have quite a lot of trains on here as well. Look at that, you see, it's certainly spoiled for choice there. There's a lot to go for. Now surprisingly, this does move really nice. You know, it's 2D sprite based, but certainly got some of the most impressive scaling I've seen on a handheld. Well, pre-Game Boy Advance, that is. Unfortunately, this course doesn't... Oops, I'm going a bit too fast there. This course doesn't look too hot. Well, you can't complain, really. Okay, so that's Densha De Go, not too bad. So what other games do I have for it? Well, not that many, to be honest. Let's see, what do we have over here? So we've got here we've got Fatal Fury here, Final Contact, and Metal Slug First Mission. Now these cartridges are actually beta cartridges. The contents of the game is probably the same as the final game. I don't know, to be honest, because I've never actually seen the original cartridge. But these came from SNK themselves. Not bad, eh? And we've also got Ogre Battle. So I know you're dying to see what the fighters look like on it, aren't you? Okay, well, let's plunk them in. And power up the console. There you get your nice little intro. It's just like the original Neo Geo systems. Better put that in manual focus, I think. So this game is actually a link-up compatible game where you can link two Neo Geo Pockets together. But I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking it plays like a sack of crap. Well, actually, it doesn't. It actually plays quite well. And getting out the moves is actually quite easy. You've only got two buttons, one being punch and one being kick, but look at this. There you go, no problem at all. Unfortunately, the sound chip on the Neo Pocket is a bit on the iffy side when it comes to music, but you know, put a bit of speech in there, I guess, but you know, can't complain too much. And the next one you're probably down to see is Metal Slug. Well, Metal Slug is actually also pretty good. So with Metal Slug you can actually continue your game as well. You can see we're here in the prison camp. Let's just get rid of that mouse. Give me a present. Now it does actually play really, really nice. You know. And even on this tiny little screen, which is oh fuck, there we go. Oh, that was quick, wasn't it? Even on this little tiny screen, it's still not too bad. So there you have it. That's the Neo Geo Pocket Colour. The only bad thing I've got about the machine is the fact that the screen is a bit on the iffy side. So if you're going to play on it, make sure you play in a nice, well lit room. Otherwise, you're going to have yourself some problems. Now, were you like me when you were a little kid? Just always wanted to blow the shit out of something? Well, if you were, you're gonna love this. This is Bummer for the Sega Dreamcast. And the whole idea of the game is to plant bombs in buildings and blow the shit out of them. So to start off, you get a pretty standard small looking rundown building. And you get a few different bombs which you can plant with inside it. The further you progress into the game, the more bombs you get, the more variety in bombs I should say. Plus the bigger the buildings become and the more complex they become, making it a hell of a lot more difficult to blow them up. So first thing you do is select what type of bomb you want and place it within the building. Now there's actually quite a bit of strategy involved here, because you can't just place a shitload of bombs all over the place. Because if you do, you're going to end up with bits flying all over the place and killing people in the street. Also, you know, planting a crap load of bombs in one area isn't going to bring down the building. So you really do have to plan out which bomb will weaken which beam and so on. As well as sticking bombs in the building, you can also stick in a couple of cameras as well. So you can actually view the action from inside the building. Here we're actually viewing it from the outside. You can see there a little red mark popped up on the bottom of the screen, which means somebody got hit by a bit of debris. Doesn't look like I did too well there. So anyway, after you completed each stage, you get this little rundown. Anyone notice the little sign to the left saying Afro? Here we go with a lovely 20-story skyscraper. And I've actually stuck a couple of cameras inside on the 20th floor. As you can see, we've got a couple of missiles coming in as well, which you don't actually get at the beginning of the game. You only get them once you complete the game. Here we go on the this is on the 18th floor, this camera. And as you can see, all things are going right through it. You know, this is on the 20th floor, this camera is. And we're going down. Wonderful stuff. So as well as blowing up buildings, you can also blow up all sorts of weird stuff. Such as UFOs or big statues. So as you can see here, we've got some sort of transparent glass statue which you can blow the crap out of, which is actually quite tricky, to be honest. As well as that, we've also got this weird looking cave with dinosaur eggs on, or I believe that's what they're meant to be. This isn't too difficult, to be honest. And one of my favourite ones, which really does look very nice when you blow them up, is this one here, which is an underground or underwater, well, I don't know what it is, to be honest. Some sort of research base anyway, but it's under the sea. And when you blow it up, everything goes in slow motion. It looks absolutely amazing. And once you complete the game, you get these little bonus games as well, which are really nice, where you get to blow the shit out of buildings using different army vehicles. As you can see here, I've got a helicopter, and as you can clearly see, I'm no good at flying it. You are timed as well to see how much you can demolish within the time limit. Another one of my favourite ones here, you actually get to fire some missiles at the building. And finally, there's a tank as well, which is actually pretty fiddly, to be honest, due to the camera angles. So you have it, that's Bomber Hair, one of the Sega Dreamcast hidden gems. Not that easy to find these days, but if you ever do manage to find it, definitely worth picking up. 10 out of 10. Well, you've got to admit, it's got an original name. ZuPaPa. So, based on the good old Snow Brothers games, mixed with a bit of Bubble. The idea of the game is to throw your little guys at the enemies, walk into the enemies and they'll disappear. As well as throwing your little guys at the enemies, you can also punch them as well. As you can see, when you punch them or throw your little guys at them, they flash. When they're flashing, it's safe to walk into them. Very, very simple. But you know what? It's absolutely brilliant to play. Unfortunately, when I was making this video here, I was completely pissed at the time. That's drunk, by the way, for our American viewers. So I ended up getting killed more times than you can actually believe. Thank God for the power of editing. You can see one of the boss characters, and again, just like the normal enemies in the game, the idea is you got to throw your little guys at them. So while ZuPaPa is not exactly the most stunning Neo Geo game out there, it's certainly one of the most fun to play. A good step back in time, this one. Definitely worth picking up if you can find it. It's a lovely retro core score of 8 out of 10. Some really good classic arcade action. Just don't play it if you're drunk. Well, I don't have to introduce this one. It's Game of the Month. It's ZuPaPa's Virtual on the Sega Saturn. So, first of all, you got to select what character you want. And we'll start it off by going the good old default character, Tenjin.
Flooded City. Get ready.
So as you can see, Virtual On is a one-on-one beat 'em up of some sort anyway. Don't know if you'd actually call it beat 'em up, to be honest, but certainly a one-on-one versus game. And the idea is to blow away the opposing robot before he blows you away. Pretty simple, really. Well, of course, it's not that simple. Each robot's equipped with a load of different weapons. You got a right-hand weapon, left-hand weapon, and a special weapon as well. And you've also got the ability to do a sort of jump, flying jump. Keep you in the air for about 5 seconds. So as you can also dash from left to right. Now with a game like this, you'd expect it to be pretty poor when you play versus the CPU. But actually the computer AI in this game is extremely good. Sometimes you'd easily be mistaken for playing against a human opponent. CRI, who converted this game, certainly did a good job. In fact, they probably did a better job than what Sega's own teams would have done. Just a shame that Sega's touring cars didn't turn out as good. The game should be played with two twin sticks, which basically control the feet of your robot. But CRI have actually done a very good job of converting the controls to the standard Sega Saturn control pad. Basically, your L and R triggers turn your robot around on its axis through 360 degrees, and your D-pad controls which direction it moves. This sounds a little bit complicated, but believe me, it's actually very easy to get to grips with. Much easier than the Sega Dreamcast version. No need to comment on the graphics. As you can see, they're absolutely astounding. Some really solid looking 3D in there. And the whole game runs at 30 frames per second. There's one stage though where it does slow down, that being the ruined stage. Overall, the game is perfectly solid.
This version is not a simulatory system. All registered user data will be transferred to the deployed virtual system memory bank.
Just look at this. It's things like this that make Sega games such class. Little intermission sequence between the levels here. There were actually two versions of Virtual released in Japan. This is the standard version, and there was also the expand version, or the Sega Net Online version, as it's sometimes called, which enables you to create custom coloured robots. Unfortunately, the game is unplayable unless you have the Sega Saturn modem. Look at this, even the continuous screens look cool. Virtual for the Sega Saturn, this month's Game of the Month. So how can you milk Pac-Man even more? Easy! You make Pac-Land! And that's just what Namco did. They made this complete and utter mediocre platformer, but gave it bloody weird controls. That's right, you push a button to go right and you push a button to go left. And then on the joystick, or in this case the PC Engine control pad, you push any direction on the D-pad to make them jump. And surprisingly, it actually makes the game quite addictive. Now, I remember watching the Pac-Man TV show when I was a little kid. I just loved that. Then again, probably some of you watching this probably don't know what I'm talking about because you're too bloody young. Anyway, as you can see, Pac-Man on the PC Engine, or Pac-Land I should say, is pretty similar to the arcade original. And I got to admit, if it wasn't for the quirky controls, the game would be absolutely crap. Oh, not absolutely crap, but it just wouldn't be much fun. It's just so basic. Anyway, you get through the levels, and once you get to the end and rescue enough little fairies, your little fairy princess comes along and gives you the present. In this case, she gives you a nice new pair of shoes. what do those shoes do? Well, they let you jump higher, of course. Just watch this. Not only did they let you jump higher, but they also let you do super glitches and jump through certain items. Unfortunately, these days Pac-Land doesn't really offer much compared to all the other platformers out there. So it's a retro score of 5 out of 10. Better known as Final Fight Shite. This is Final Fight Revenge for the Sega Saturn, the last real Sega Saturn game to ever be released. It was released in Japan on March 30th, year 2000. Dreamcast had already been out over the year by then. I say the last real Sega Saturn game because the last Sega Saturn game was actually a box set of previously released Love Adventure games, and that was released in December 2000. Anyway, needless to say, this is Shite because it's made by Capcom USA. And as you know, usually more often than not, the USA branches of Japanese companies make shite. Now while this game may look okay, I mean just about looks okay, it plays absolutely bloody awful. The characters are really unresponsive for the start. Just look at this No Star ripoff. Blatant ripoff of No Star, that. So as I was saying, yeah, the characters control really poorly. And besides Cody here, none of the other characters seem to have any really decent moves. And the fact that the background music is absolutely pathetic. Hang on, what's happened here? Oh, there you go, it's just bloody crashed, hasn't it? Better reset the old Sega Saturn.
Come on! Ready?
Anyway, back with the game. So yeah, as I was saying, the music's pretty bad in the majority of the game. In fact, this stage which we got on now actually has the best soundtrack out of the entire game. Most of the other stages just consist of, I don't know what you call it really, just background warbling. Whatever warbling is. But that's what's used in this game. The game also makes use of the Sega Saturn's 4 megabit cartridge. Now where exactly that 4 megabits is used, I do not know. Can you see anything that uses it? I certainly can't. You know, when you compare it to the likes of Virtua Fighter 2, Anarchy in the Nippon, Zero Divide Final, and Dead or Alive 2, they all look a million times better than this, and they all run in the Sega Saturn's highest resolution as well. And they don't use any extra memory. Just Capcom USA. They've certainly given the Final Fight franchise a bad name with this one. You may have noticed there are a few weapons dotted around the stages as well. These can be picked up by either you or the enemy. But to be honest, they're pretty much left on the ground. As you'll see with Guy here with this laser bazooka, you tend to get in the way more than not. Could have sworn that was me who dropped there down. Oops, it's bloody crashed again. So as you can probably tell, I'm not too impressed by Final Fight Revenge on the Sega Saturn, and neither should you be. It's bloody awful. Still, that doesn't stop it going for silly amounts of money. So, Final Fight Revenge on the Sega Saturn gets a lovely Retrocore score of 5 out of 10.
Game over!
Believe in what? That's what I want to know. It's PaRappa for the Sony PlayStation. So last week we played Jungle Rhythm on the Sega Saturn, completely not a shite effort of a rhythm game. It was basically just copying from this. So let's see how the master does it. Now I must apologise for the sound suddenly going off on the left channel. You can blame the bloody PlayStation for that. Yep, Sony and the very poor build quality. I own an awful lot of systems and it's the only one that fucks up all the bloody time. Anyway, enough of that. So compared to Jungle Rhythm, the button presses on this game do actually make a difference to the actual ranking. Because in Jungle Rhythm you can press whatever you want, you still get a good mark. You do have to be pretty much spot on as well. Now with the buttons being placed in a sort of a squares pattern, It is actually quite difficult at times. You do end up pressing the wrong button. Well, that could be just me because I don't use the PlayStation that often. So I'm not really accustomed to the controller, to be honest. But I suppose if you're PlayStation nut and you're always on the PlayStation, I suppose you won't have a problem. So in between different parts of the game, you get these little cutscenes which explain the story.
It's a great day today. So what do you guys want to do?
Let's go down to the beach. Okay, sounds cool.
Don't we need a car to get anywhere?
Yeah, and a license too.
Yeah, just listen to the way the Spare starts telling us, saying the numbers in a minute.
That's the new Super Stretch Limo 900. Yeah, the maximum speed is tuned up to 463,200.
Classic.
I've been working here since my mama was a baby. Just because the rhythm is slow.
The quality of the tunes in for Rapper the Rapper is also very good. I suppose Sony owning the record label helps with that, I guess. But some of them actually are quite enjoyable, and you can listen to them without actually playing the game. You know, just play them on stereo while you're driving. Well, maybe not this tune. But they are pretty catchy, and you do remember them. Some of the nice features, if you're doing really bad, the actual tempo of the song, or not the actual tempo, but the song itself, will actually change in real time.
I can sell a bottle cap like this.
I will try to sell a cap like this.
I never dream it would be like this. I am the #1 ruler of the 7 seas. The skunk over here will bring you luck.
The skunk over here will bring you luck.
Boom, 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 you say bam, bam, bam. No pause in between. Come on, let's jam. Step on the gas.
Step on the gas.
Step on the brakes.
Step on the brake.
Step on the brakes.
Step on the
So with a total of 6 stages and a hidden stage as well, Rapper the Rapper is going to keep you going for quite some time.
Way to go, but it ain't gonna stop me. Here we go. Check.
Definitely one of the best rhythm games out there. In fact, it probably was the first one, to be honest.
Now turn to the right.
Now turn to the right.
Even all these days later, it still holds its own. Yeah, the graphics are bent all over the place, and you got polygon glitching galore.
Signals to the left.
But you can just ignore that.
Now turn to the left.
Whoa, ho, ho, ho. Stop the car. We got an emergency, can't you see? Do you know why we stopped the car?
Do I know why we stopped the car?
Yes.
Yes.
What?
What?
Do you know why we stopped the car?
Do I know why we stopped the car?
Yes.
Yes.
What?
Oh, get on with it, you stupid cow.
Close the door.
You forgot to close.
What'd you expect? Was a woman driver? So, Retroco's very happy to give Rapper the Rapper the wonderful score of 8 out of 10.
Ooh, come on again.
Many, many years later, it's still fabulous to play.
To the right.
Well worth checking out.
「この男また人騒がせなものを作ってしまった」「このソフトは事件になる」「エネミーゼロ」
できたぞ俺のアクションゲームだいCD ロムロムでビジュアルも最高
なるほど。
NCS メサイアより12月発売。
少年よ、お前に美しい世界の果てしない物語を与えよう。
ファンタジック RPG アクションモンスターワールド3メガドライブから。
一生懸命なあなたがあなたがイライラするのよね。
びっくり熱血新記録はるかなる金メダル
ベルセル12月16日発売。
Barudo Force Exe, otherwise known as Ballz Force EXE for the English speaking people out there. Released in 2004 for the Sega Dreamcast, and actually one of the hardest to find Dreamcast games as well, due to the fact that it was a complete sellout on release and never did get a reprint. So instantly you think, nice one, it's a 4-player rumble game, I should say, where you all get in there and beat the crap out of each other. Well, actually, it's not. It's a love adventure game with an 18 certificate. But the reason for it being so popular is the action bits being thrown in. So the whole game is voice driven. But I'm actually skipping it frantically, so you're going to be missing much of the speech here. So every time you're just about to go into battle, you do actually get the chance to customize your mech. Or your cyborg robot, or whatever it's bloody called. And you can see there are absolutely tons of options to look through, but don't worry, it's not that difficult to figure them all out. And all the main options in the game are in English, as you can see right here. As I was saying, it's one of those love adventure games. Well, according to the box, it's actually a sci-fi action adventure. But of course, being one of those type of games, it's full of scantily clad women. With some pretty provocative lines in there. Unfortunately, with all these types of games, it's only available in Japanese. But I'd certainly say it's worth picking up, even if you can't speak Japanese, because of these action scenes. There's certainly enough action in there to keep you going. Even though the Dreamcast version does have a 18 certificate, it is actually censored compared to the PC original, which is a bit of a shame. But it's not censored too heavily. And it's censored a hell of a lot less than what all those games are on the PlayStation 2. See, you gotta have some sort of story in there.
私、セキュリティ関係の会社に誘われてるんだ。犯した罪は、そこの社長さんが骨で何とかしてくれるって。
And of course you gotta have the obligatory big tits woman. There she is.
あんたまたそれやってるの？新入りが入ってくるたびにあんたそれやってない？
So Battle Force Exit for the Sega Dreamcast is a bit of a difficult one to recommend due to the language barrier in it. But if you're after something a little bit different and you don't mind wading through tons of text all the time, well, you do get to look at some nice pickies, then maybe it's worth picking up. Unfortunately, it's probably going to cost you quite a bit. As I said, one of the more difficult Sega Dreamcast games to find. Said to be the most beautiful looking Sega Saturn game ever, this is Panzer Dragoon Azel, otherwise known as Panzer Dragoon Saga. So, starting off the game, we get to see these lovely cutscenes. And this is actually a Sega Saturn Power, by the way, this is not FMV. Very nice. So unlike the other Panzer Dragoon games, the third one is actually an RPG, or more of an action RPG than a, your traditional style RPG. So as you can see here, we got a little world map, and we just select where we want to go. Now, as you'd expect, the worlds are fully 3D, populated by people you can talk to, and it's fully voice driven as well, which really adds that little bit of extra to it. So as well as wandering around cities and asking people questions and so on, what else can you do? Well, it's an RPG, what else do you think you can do? Of course you got to go to the shops and all that and buy different items, weapons, powered ups and so on. You also got to solve the odd puzzle here and there. But what is important is that when you're camping out, you keep your dragon happy. So every now and then it's worth giving him a little pat and keeping the spirits up, as you can see just here. The worlds in Panzer Dragoon Saga are absolutely vast. So this world, which you can see right here, is near the beginning of the game. It's actually in the canyons or in the mountains. And later on in this stage, you get to go into a canyon filled with water. Looks absolutely stunning. As you can see, it moves a hell of a lot smoother than the previous two Panzer Dragoon games as well. Possibly running at 60 frames a second. Another nice feature is when you build up your dragon, you can actually alter the ability of the dragon, which also actually changes the actual shape of the dragon, and you can do all this in real time. As you can see, it looks pretty nice. Now you're probably wondering, is the Japanese version worth getting? Well, to be honest, it is pretty playable even though you can't read it. You do miss out on the story, but if you're not too bothered about the story, then yeah, by all means get the Japanese version. It's a hell of a lot cheaper than the PAL version, and a lot better than the shitty US version with that bloody awful box that they give it. At least it's in English. But like all RPGs, Panzer Dragoon is no exception. You can be just flying around the landscape like this, and next thing you know, you're being attacked. But the actual battles are quite interesting. They're all in real time, of course. As you can see at the bottom of the screen there, we've got a little radar. And the green areas are the safe areas. So if you stay in those green areas, you can't get hit. Now, of course, you got to take your turn, you know, for attacking. But it isn't like one hit here, one hit there, one hit for the enemy, and then one hit for you again. You can actually get a couple of hits off in a row if you're quick enough. Attack-wise, you got your standard blaster, and then you got your lock-on laser, which isn't very effective, to be honest, in most enemies. But you've also got a shitload of specials as well, which you're about to see right now. And don't worry, you can take ages choosing what weapon you want, because the enemies won't attack you. Overall, Panzer Dragoon Assault is not exactly what I'd call a real RPG in the sense of you're wandering around different worlds collecting characters to join your party, such as your traditional RPG. But you know, it's still very good. Easily gets a virtual core score of 9 out of 10. Pathetic fucking magic. That's what PF Magic stands for, I'll tell you. Now, there are a lot of games out there which are shite, but none of them actually call themselves shite. This one does. It's fucking balls. And that's exactly what it is. Balls. Or as I'd like to say, bollocks. Yeah, well, look at that, he's fucking wobbling his ass. What sort of moves that? So as you can see, it's a 3D beat 'em up featuring characters made of balls. It's shite on the Super Famicom, it's shite on the Mega Drive, and it's shite on 3DO. It's just shite up full stop. Controls are sluggish, the moves are very uninspiring, sound effects are pathetically bad, music's crap, background arenas look like shit. And just look at that! That's a special move? What the fuck's going on there? Tell ya. What a sack of crap. Whoa, some scary shit there. This is Samurai Zombie Nation, and it's actually a lovely Korean hack of this, where it actually puts Kim Jong-il's face as the main monster, I should say, and there's North Korean flags all over the place. Not too sure what it's meant to mean. Maybe it's meant to be Kim Jong-il is out to cleanse all the Korean non-believers and make one happy paradise. Who knows? I certainly don't, and I don't give a shit. So neither should you. Anyway, this is the original version, actually the American version. And the idea of the game is to take this little severed head out here and blow the shit out of everything. Well, at least that's what I think's meant to be happening. It does actually have a story, but I couldn't be arsed reading it. Not that the story really matters in a shooter, nor do I really care about it either. So as you can see, it does look quite crude. It's actually a main thing you control the heads. It's bloody awful. I could probably do better myself. But you know, it's strangely addictive. Probably the fact that you're playing as a decapitated head is what makes it addictive, I guess. Playability wise, it's nothing special. At some points it can be pretty difficult to avoid any of the enemy's attacks. And one really annoying feature about the game is if you touch the lightning on this stage or any other stage, you die bloody almost instantaneously. Basically, if you're after something a little bit weird and you're into shooters, maybe we'd give it a try, but to be honest, I'd buy something else if I were you. 5 out of 10. So here we are with a bit of a retro core special. No, it's not the first time we've been out in the car, but usually we go to places like hard off or used game shops or the game centre or arcade. But today I thought I'd show you a bit of traditional Japan. So this is Chofu in Shimonoseki, where I live. Now just take a look at how bloody narrow this road is here. And it's not one way either, it's two way. You may notice that on the road it does actually say 30, which means 30 kilometers per hour. But people go up and down here at 50 kilometers per hour easily. And this road here looks extremely narrow. But yet again, it's a two-way road. It's barely big enough just for one car, never mind 2 cars. Anyway, let's head off to the temple. So here we are at one of the main temples in Chofu. Chofu has actually got many temples, but this is one of the bigger ones. And as you can see from that statue just there with the dog, it's a dog temple. Well, maybe not, but the dog's their guard. Which is probably why this temple has no cats in it. Usually temples do have cats. So just in case you're wondering what's inside, well, not much really. There were little bits of white paper on the sticks and the little gold versions of them there on the altar are actually meant to keep away bad spirits. And what you do is you come here and you ring this bell, clap your hands and say a little prayer. Well, of course you got to put some money in the little box. You don't have to, but you know. And there we can see one of the temple helpers there. Now these big things here are actually massive bamboo, well, don't see bamboo stalks, but they're not stalks, are they? Just massive pieces of bamboo. Now the reason that they have flags attached to them is because they're getting ready for the festival, which is actually going to be held next week. But unfortunately, I'm not here at the time, so I won't be able to video the festival. But at least you can see them getting the bamboo ready. As you can see, it's extremely tall. Basically, what they do is some of the strongest men in the town lift up one of these bamboos and go for a walk with it. Actually, 2 years ago, one of the soft bastards dropped one and landed on the car roof and smashed all the window. So let's go and have a look at the main temple up here. And by the way, just in case you're wondering how hot it is, it's 36 degrees. With these sweats dripping off me. I hate summer. And here we go, that's the main temple. Even the pigeons look calm. And see the bit of wood there where the pigeons are sitting on? That's actually the step of the gate which leads up to the temple. And it's actually against the rules to step on that step. So if you ever do come to Japan, don't step on the wooden part. Step over it. Now, as I said before, this temple doesn't actually have any cats. Usually temples have cats in them. But if they don't have cats, they have roosters. Just like that one. Any idea what that says? No? Don't worry, neither do I. So this area here, believe it or not, was a theme park. Well, a pretty small theme park. The roller coaster, big wheel, a haunted house and lots of other attractions. But about 6 years ago we had a big typhoon which destroyed the place. Actually, I did take a lot of the photos back then with my digital camera. I got some really good ones as well. Unfortunately, some bastard sent a virus to the hard drive and wiped them all off. Anyway, since then they demolished the entire site and just left it there. And that's why it's covered in grass now. Actually, if you do go over there, the actual pit where the swimming pool used to be is still there. As well as the roller coaster stand. Anyway, we're going to go up to the top. Shall we go up these forbidden steps? Maybe not. Now that's one ugly motherfucker of an insect, that is. God knows what that is, but certainly not a butterfly. Now actually this area here is famous for the giant butterflies. Now they do actually look like birds. The only problem is trying to film them is a right bitch because they don't stay still enough. They don't stay still long enough, I should say. Ooh, I wouldn't like to see the spider made that wet. Ooh. There you go, you can see a few there. Look like birds, don't they? If you actually get down here early enough in the morning, you do actually see them all sitting on the floor. You can actually sit on the floor though during the day because it's too hot. Now this big whale building here used to be a lookout point or the observatory or some sort of tourist attraction, but it's been closed down for quite some time. In fact, they renovated it, opened it for a couple of months and then closed it back down. Completely pointless if you ask me. See over there. Anyway, take a look at the English bit here. If you want to read it, just pause it. At last we got away from that bloody awful noise of all those little insects. You still hear it though. Anyway, at the moment we're standing on what's left of the Chofu castle. This is actually meant to be the top of the building, which overlooked the little villages below. Of course, now it just overlooks the coast. So those mountains over there, that's actually Kyushu, and over the sea over in that direction there is Korea. Kyushu, and just in case you didn't know this, or just in case you don't know I should say, is the third main island of Japan. It goes Hokkaido, Honshu is where Osaka and Tokyo and all that is. Where I live right on the coast of it. And then Kyushu. And then you got bloody Okinawa after that. And all those little shitty islands that no one really cares about. Ooh, do you want to buy a Nissan? Just quite surprised I got Pet Shop Boys here on the radio. Anyway, that building in the far distance, you can just see with the red writing on the top, is actually the Kyoto boat racing place. Maybe you've seen the game of them. There's a few of them in Japan, and we have one right here in Chofu. But I'm sure you're a lot more interested in this building over here, which is the 24-hour Hentai book and DVD shop. You see, Chofu's got loads of great stuff. Bit of a view of the car badge there. So I was going to go up here, up this trail to the little mini scary temple, but unfortunately I had my sandals on at the time, so I didn't really fancy going up there, you know. I didn't want all sorts of crap crawling over my toes. But you do get to see a nice little butterfly drinking water off the floor. Actually, this place where we are now is on top of the mountain. And yes, people do live up here. The shanty town of Chofu, I call it. And they've even got their own little pussy. Actually, it costs quite a lot of money to live up here, because you can actually build quite a big house. Still on the mountain. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little look into the more traditional side of Japan. And who knows, maybe I'll do it again sometime. Keep watching to the end of the credits as well.